How's it going, everyone? So we've got a pair of 1210 M3Ds here that have come in for a service and deep clean. Needs a lot of love. They've been very, very well used. They've been used for years up until bringing them down to me over the weekend. So we can have new pitch, new trims, new shader cloths, all the goodies that I normally offer as part of a service. Arms fully stripped down, arms fully rebuilt. Obviously check the bearings. There's no looseness in the arms on the pivots, which is usually a good sign. The arms do not appear to be bent or have any impact damage at all. Again, a good sign. Pivots need a good polish. We're going to change over all of the old petroleum jelly on the arm assemblies as they're seized. So they're going to be removed, rebuilt, new oil, new grease even. Platters are going to be deep cleaned. As you can see, everything on these decks just needs a lot of love. Doesn't take much to get these back up to spec, but this is going to look completely different. All the tactile switches are going to be replaced as well. 45 tactile switches, quite grubby. Doesn't seem to be pushing down properly. Same thing goes for the on-off switch caps as well. Very dirty. Again, going to be deep cleaned. We go over everything with a fine tooth comb. New audio cables, new grounding cables, new pitch, like I've said, new pop-ups. This pop-up here is not working. So we're going to change over both pop-ups with warm white SMDs. So flat panel LEDs that have a nice spread of light, as you've seen in my previous videos. And yeah, stay tuned, guys, because this is the before video. The after video is coming up right now. So straight off the bat, very, very clean. Lots of, well, all the grime, all the rave goo, every nasty piece you can think of has been removed from both turntables. We had beer spillage in there. We had, well, the operation bases themselves snapped underneath. Well, the buttons wasn't working properly, as you all saw on the previous part of this video. The platters are all manky and horrible. Well, not the case anymore. Yes, there are age-related marks, but you've got to remember, these are not brand new, straight out of the box turntables. These have been well used and abused, I suppose, like a lot of people do. Excellente. Right, let's move on to the right-hand side turntable, and the reason for that is because I've actually got this deck powered on. Boom, there we go. So let's give you a run through as to what was completed, shall we? So let's start with the platters, because these are the obvious thing you're going to spot straight away. Look how shiny these are now. Good couple of hours on these, machine polisher and hand polish to get a nice finish. Very happy with the end result of both of these platters. To be fair, I'm pretty happy with the end result, full stop, of each turntable. So if you could have seen the amount of beer that was poured in here at some point, it was all underneath the transformer. It was actually inside the weighted clay section in the middle of the turntable. It stuck the rubber base to the inside or the outer shell of the weighted section. So trying to take that off was an absolute nightmare. Penetrant oil, alcohol cleaner, heat, swearing, you name it, I got them loose. So that's the platters. That's the beer I was telling you about. Right, operation base. Fully stripped down on both turntables. Like I said earlier, one of them was very grubby on the 45 switch from what I remember. So again, beer had managed to get in there. All deep cleaned. New tactile switches. Strobe tower machine polished. Buttons deep cleaned. Lovely. Pop-up surround. That has also been machine polished. Nice and shiny now. I've installed warm white SMD pop-up lighting. It's obviously custom made by myself. Lovely spread of light on them, not overpowering. Very similar to the original lamps that were installed. Onto the pitch area. New trims, new under shader cloths, new rectangular pitch felt underneath the actual knob itself. And the sliders, what I've actually done here is I've used two brand new aftermarket slider housings with fresh grease and the stem itself with the bristles. And we've actually managed to save the original pitch sliders, because when I did my initial checks on these, they were only slightly out. They did need recalibrating with obviously with the frequency counter and setting the correct resistance. Once this was done, I was more than happy and come to my conclusion that I could install these back into the turntables. So instead of just like rebuilding the originals and then having to, you know, match the feel, it's a very difficult task if you've never done this before. Everyone's going to say, it's easy. No, it's not, trust me. It's much better to replace the housing. Because look, you're going to have a brand new housing that's never been used, brand new grease that's never been used. That's what gives it that nice smooth feel, as you can see in the video. It even looks nice in the video. And the stem with the bristles that actually hit the carbon track, all brand new. So the only part that was kept is the actual board itself, cleaned up, relubricated, installed, calibrated correctly. I'll show you now the calibration on this. So if we start this off, 0. It's been obviously with an M3D and a Mark V, you have to tell the turntable and tell that model where to stop. So the frequency counter is needed. You pop your pitch to its 0 position, then you basically attach your frequency counter probes onto the top. You can see it through the oscilloscope as well. There's lots of things you can do. Then you move it to a set frequency and it tells you where it stops. So as you can see there, we've got a nice static 0%, 3.3, as you can all see here. It's steady. 6.4. Lovely. Minus 3.3. Usually quite a tricky one with a lot of turntables. Steady. Actually, hang on. A little bit more. Now we're steady. Lovely. So both sliders reacting exactly the same way. I was more than happy to pop them back in. So apart from using the original pitch itself, everything else is new. So new housing, new stem, new grease, new trims, new undershader cloth, new pitch felt for underneath the pitch knob itself. The knob's obviously been cleaned as well. That's what she said. The arm assemblies have cleaned up very, very well. The pivots have obviously been machine polished for the tops of the bearings and the side bearings. Much cleaner. Completely stripped down the arm, machine polished the tube, the socket, even the connector pins are nice and clean now, nice and shiny. All the horrible old greasy, horrible manky rubbish around the height adjustments all been removed, re-greased, moving lovely now. No looseness at all. Silicone dampener on the lock itself, so that's not moving stupid freely as you get on a lot of turntables when people rebuild them. Excellent. Obviously the rear weight's been cleaned, that's all been polished, even the auxiliary weight. It's got Stantons on here as well. Still working very, very well. And there we go. The boards themselves, again, plimps have been completely stripped down. You can see what I've cleaned now. So the internals are exactly the same, nice and clean. There was beer underneath the transformer. It stank in there as well. The transformer luckily had nothing stuck to the unit at all. To the underside, nothing had spilled inside there or on any of the boards. Very lucky customer indeed. So both boards are in very good condition. New oscillator crystals, new diodes. There's a couple of resistors I've replaced. What else have we got on here? New thermal paste, obviously for the IC and for the top transistor. That's been done as standard. We've kept the original power cables. I managed to clean them up. They're in extremely good condition as well. Audio signal on both turntables is clean as a whistle. So literally continuity from A to B. So from one side of the socket going to the ends of the connector cables, the actual points themselves on the plugs. Continuity spot on. No hiss, no nothing. It's exactly what we want. Custom made grounding cables as well. And they're ready to rock. I've even managed to clean up his slip mats for him because they were filthy. Absolutely filthy. I think he's going to be over the moon when he sees these. I really do. This is the part of the job that I love, is standing back and admiring the work that I've put into these turntables. I mean, it's not a 5-minute job. It really isn't. It's a long time, a lot of hard work that goes into this, and I love it when customers actually appreciate the hard work that I put into, you know, the smallest of tasks on these. Even doing things like the spindles. I mean, the spindles on these have been machine polished. So the spindle central section that actually spins around with the record on top, that's been machine polished. The brass has been polished. Lovely and shiny. I'm not going to start taking that apart, but I'll do that in another video to show you obviously what a spindle will look like once it's been cleaned versus one that hasn't. Even the 45 adapters, everything on this is looking much healthier. It's had a new bill of life. Now we've got a nice, yes, well used pair of 1210 M3Ds, but it'll last my customer for a very, very long time. I'm sure he's going to be happy. Let me know what you think in the comments, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all on the next video. Take it easy.